let's talk about Myles Garrett, number 80 on this list. Now, I don't like to get worked up over lists. I don't like, they are what they are, right? But when I saw Myles Garrett was number 80, I mean, I know you had the helmet hit of Mason Rudolph. Still, are there really 79 guys in the NFL who are better than Myles Garrett? Even if you think that he's still got a ways to go to become, the best defensive player in the NFL, to become the best pass rusher in the NFL, even if you think there's still some room for growth there, I don't know that there's 79 players. There's definitely not 79 I would pick if I were starting a team. I don't know if there's 79 guys better than Myles Garrett. So before we get to the higher or lower, I guess what were your initial thoughts when you saw Garrett at 80?
I thought that 80 was too low for Myles. I think people sort of forgot about him after he was gone, those last 6 games. I think he belonged right up there with some of the other really good pass rushers that we'll talk about on this list. That was my initial thought.
I wouldn't want to be the person to tell Myles Garrett that there are 79 players in the NFL better than him. I will say, and having covered, again, we kind of referenced, I think, early on, both Bosa brothers, who I watched play every snap in college, are both quite a bit higher than Myles. I do think Nick Bosa as a rookie is in the teens, right, Dan? He's 14 or 17 or something?
He's 17, higher than his brother.
So after 1 year, the players decided that Nick Bosa is the 17th best player in the NFL. Nick Bosa made his team better immediately. You could feel Nick Bosa's impact on games on a regular basis, snap after snap. I do think at times you have not felt Myles Garrett's presence snap after snap after snap to that Nick Bosa level. I thought that at times watching it last year. I thought it watching the Browns-Niners last year. That I almost like, man, you'd like to see just a smidge more of what Bosa's bringing to the Niners with what Myles is bringing to the Browns. Now, 80's too low, but I think there's something a little more that Myles can do. You can't dispute his big plays when he makes them happen. You can't dispute his talent. You can't dispute his work ethic. But the every down influence on a game, I think that's why he's 80.
That's the next step, right? Become that guy that when you watch the Rams, most of the time you see 99, right? You see Aaron Donald. Even if he's not racking up numbers, you see 99. You'll just be casually watching, and on your TV screen there's 99 plowing through the line. And Myles is close to that, but that's really the next big step for him, especially now that he's, I guess, the second highest paid player in the NFL. He lasted about 2 weeks as the highest paid, I should say defensive player, as the highest paid defensive player in the league. But, Doug, you threw out Nick Bosa. So let's talk both Bosa brothers. Joey surpassed him as far as money is concerned the night before we're recording this. Nick is number 17 on this list. Doug, let's start with you on this one. Is Myles Garrett at this time next year ahead or behind, higher or lower than both Bosa brothers, one Bosa brother? Is he behind both of them? Where is he?
I'll say that Myles Garrett a year from now is ahead of Joey Bosa and behind Nick Bosa. I think the fact that Nick Bosa got to the Super Bowl as a rookie, that he's this high after 1 year, again, I don't think he's going anywhere. Joey had that holdout early in his career with the Chargers. Got a little bit of a slow start to his career. Obviously, he just got paid, but the Chargers are not, nobody, the Chargers are in LA. Nobody cares that they're in LA. I think that factors in.
When you look at what Nick Bosa has around him, I think that there is just more talent on that 49ers defense. I think that Myles just doesn't have a lot of stars around him. So he's got to be the guy on this defense. And I think that it's going to be hard for him again this year to shake off some of those double teams. I think that's going to happen to him again. When we did our 20 questions and I really analyzed the numbers, I was not as impressed with those 10 sacks in 10 games as I was when you would just think, okay, a sack a game, 10 sacks, 10 games. That would have been 16 and one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. Those first 5 sacks, you can chip, you can poke some holes in those. The first one was against a backup left tackle for the Titans. Taylor Lewan was out. The second game He knocked out Trevor Siemian out of the game on 2 illegal hits, the second of 2 illegal hits. And then he sacked the practice squad guy who had just gotten called up 2 times. So 5 sacks in those first 2 games. And then, he kind of had a little bit of a dry spell. It was 5 more in the next 8 games, and he was in a little bit of a slump when he should have been getting stronger in games, 7, 8, 9, or 8, 9, 10, whatever. He went sackless in his last 3 games of the season last year. So he needs to step it up in a big way. He needs to prove that he's worth that contract. He needs to prove that he's worth his lofty draft status. I think Joey Bosa is going to want to, prove to the world that he does deserve to be the highest paid defender in the NFL right now. I say Myles finishes below both of them.
Okay, I'm going to go a different way. I think Myles is going to have a huge year this year. I think this is the year when we kind of see Myles unleashed. I think he, everything that happened last year, I don't know if I'd call it a revenge tour. Myles doesn't strike me as a revenge tour type of guy, but I think he's poised to have an enormous year this year. And I think this time next year, we're talking about Myles Garrett finally as one of the best pass rushers in football, one of the best defensive players in football. He lives up to that contract. And maybe we already talked about him as one of the best defensive players in football. We just want to see more. I think he's ahead of both. I think we're looking at Myles Garrett as one of the best pass rushers in football next year. I think we're saying, all right, he did it. He made that leap. He took that step. He got paid. He spent an offseason stewing over that 6-game suspension, and he comes out just hair on fire and has a gigantic year. And I think he's a guy that isn't really affected by the coaching change, by the scheme change. His job is to rush the passer. And I think he makes that leap this year. So I'm going to say higher. I think he passes both Bosas this year.
Wow. That's a hot take, Dan.
I'm just trying to
That's about as hot as my takes get.